Oil's a bit messy right now. It's been brilliant. It's been brilliant for a lot. It's just been brilliant for a long time. But right now, just a little bit untidy.
It is a little untidy, and I've got to say, when OPEC Plus say that they are going to hold tight on keep steady supply and production steady, and the price drops, you've got to have a bit of I don't know, maybe I'm just a cynical old trader. I'll go light on the old trader, but bit of cynicism with maybe the fact that they chose to ignore Biden and Europe's request to increase production on supply, therefore to bring the prices down. And they very politely said, actually, I don't think they were that polite about it. They just said, no, we're not going to do it. So as you can see, there's been a lot of nonsense over this last week. And despite what there should have been happening in the market, and we know there should have been a retracement from a technical point of view, and look at it, hey, we've got the retracement that we expected after a double top. It came down quite a bit of a way. Now, maybe a bit of market manipulation, and I'm not pointing any fingers at anybody, because we've seen perhaps China dump a little bit of stock when copper prices were getting a little out of control, and they felt the need to sort of like massage the prices. But maybe there's something that's happened here, because if you're trying to work out, you've got Cushing. Now, Cushing, just to explain, in Oklahoma, it is the largest storage facility for oil in North America. And between North America and China, the numbers tend to fluctuate a little bit, not much, as to who is the biggest consumer of oil. Having Cushing at critical levels. Now, they reported on the 22nd of October that levels were starting to get to critical levels. Now we're getting to a point where they just don't have it. Also, an announcement this morning that I noticed in the press, it was more to do with how they're going to try and combat this, because OPEC are playing ball and we're at critical levels in Cushing. You would expect to see the prices of oil just go flying through the roof. The infrastructure bill certainly didn't help that as well, because obviously with the increase in manufacture and all the rest of that goes along with that, that's got a bit of pressure on the requirement and demand for oil. So you add those things up, you don't expect to see a drop in oil prices. But what they had announced this morning, earlier, or probably just before close of business in New York, is that they're trying to turn on the taps for their shale the shale oil industry in the US, and get that pumping as hard as quickly as possible. A lot of the wells that came offline with the hurricane and all the damage that was done a couple of months ago, apparently they're under a little bit of pressure to get that back up and running pronto. So what we're going to see, I don't know, if that's going to make a big enough impact when you've got Cushing at they're below critical levels. We've got OPEC saying steady as she goes. No, we're not actually going to increase that supply. I don't care what you say. I think they're enjoying a little bit of upside. I actually feel, Paul, we're really going to be heading north again. I just don't think the shale industry in the US is going to make too much of a difference to the critical levels that we're seeing right around the world, and the controlled supply of oil. I just think we're going to see oil. We've talked about it, and I think we're going to see triple digits by the end of the year. So hang on to your hat on this one.
Yeah, look, I've been, as you know, Angie, I've been with you. I've been calling for, at least mid-90s by the end of the year on oil for quite some time now. And I don't see any reason to do that, to change that. I do think, as I said earlier on in my piece, that it's time for amateurs to get out of this market and be careful, because the Cushing, Oklahoma thing is complicated. There's volatility. We could see a big move in oil that is like this. And if that's the case, I think you probably, as a retail trader, you've got to understand the professionals are going to beat you. They know more about this stuff. They understand. They get the information before you. They will have moved this market before we know about it. And as a retail trader, for me, it's time for caution. And I'm holding on to some longs in oil, but we'll see how they go. I'm not taking any new positions in oil at this point.
Yeah, I mean, just have a look what happened. This is Thursday, crude oil inventories. And it's just like, hang on a minute, they came flying back down. And that's craziness, because the inventory levels are critical. So, like I said, I'm not cynical. And I believe in true market forces, but maybe there's a bit of manipulate. Who knows? Who knows? I'm just being speculative, but it is hard to understand when you've got the fundamentals, and we know oil is really touchy when it comes to the fundamentals, to see a decline in the price when OPEC are just still holding it quite neatly by the neck and just saying this is the way it's going to go. So let's see how it pans out. Please be careful. We're seeing some really big moves on information that's not actually lining up with technicals at the moment. So just, retail traders, be careful. Wide stops on this one if you're going to go hard, because it's moving.
Thank you very much, Angie. Thanks for that. Look, one of the great additions to our show recently in the last few